Hey guys, thanks so much for watching my YouTube channel where I talk to my favorite actors and sometimes another Josh, like this guy, Josh Dallas. Hey, Josh.
Hey, Josh.
Hey, Josh. Josh, I know you're a devoted subscriber to Happy, Sad, Confused, right? People should subscribe to this.
Devoted. One of my favorite all-time podcasts, Josh. I'm so honored to be here.
I just put him on the spot. Enjoyed this conversation with my favorite other Josh, Mr. Josh Dallas.
Yeah.
All right. Now for the podcast proper, officially, finally, Josh Dallas is on Happy, Sad, Confused. We've Comic-Conned, we've game nighted, but we've never podcasted, my friend. It's so good to see you. Are you ready for this experience?
It's so good to see you. I don't know if I'm ready for this experience, but I'm loving this experience so far.
30 seconds in, it's okay. Okay, great.
Yeah, 30 seconds in, but it's one of my favorites, and it's an honor to be here, Josh.
It's an honor to have you. We go way back. I feel like I'm part of the family. For those, this is full disclosure, as if this is going to be like a big probing interview. But Josh first knew a different Horowitz, my brother Adam, who was the co-showrunner EP of a little show called Once Upon a Time. And then I got to know you. I guess like our history, I probably first met you at one of the crazy Comic-Cons in San Diego. I gotta think, right?
100%. In fact, you did some panels for us, right? Didn't you?
You know, they never had me moderate a panel.
Interviews.
Just interviews.
How dare you? Need to talk to your brother about that.
It would have been, you know what?
We should have had you.
No, it was the couple times I had to
interview weird for you
my brother
and Adam.
I didn't like it. I didn't enjoy it. It felt weird. It felt wrong.
Wait, but he did such a great interview on the podcast.
Thank you. He did. We had a very sweet one after our dad passed, and we reminisced about our how we came to love movies and TV as much as we did. That one worked, but in Comic-Con circumstances, no. But I did always enjoy nerding out with you guys, having fun, playing silly games. Colin, I feel like still thinks that the high point of his career is beating you at game night.
You know what? It is the high point of his career, and he can hold on to it. Colin O'Donoghue is the greatest, and I love him with all my heart.
Fair enough. So let's He's
a regular. He's a regular of the podcast.
He's done he did a podcast once, and then he's done game night. Yeah. I can't keep him away from game night. I mean, the dude is like obsessed.
He's obsessed with, holding out on his honor. He needs to defend his honor.
That's right. There's a lot to cover. Okay, so beyond just reminiscing, I do want to talk about a bunch of really cool things going on. I'm catching you at a really cool moment. As we tape this, Manifest is back, and it's as was hoped, as was predicted. I literally just saw the numbers, 57 million people watching it in the first 3 days. I mean, this is a good story. This is not the usual story. How are you feeling delivering this first part of the final season, seeing the response as positive as it is?
I couldn't be more happy. I couldn't be filled with more gratitude about how it's turned out. The story of this show, much like the characters in the show, we were resurrected and brought back in such a great way on Netflix. And today we were just told we are #1 worldwide, 57 million hours streamed. It's incredible. And I'm just so humbled that our fans have, embraced the show in the way that they have, and they're digging season 4.
So in brief, I mean, the encapsulated version is the show was, I guess, officially canceled for a hot second by NBC. And then around that time, Netflix had debuted the first seasons, and it found this whole huge new audience. And of course, they pick it up for the supersized 20-episode season. So a few questions about that. First, in just making these final episodes, is there kind of like a weight off your shoulders? Because you know it's the end, and the audience is there. Like Netflix has shown, they are gonna come out and enjoy this. So what was the vibe like in season 4 versus the first 3? Did it feel like a whole different kind of thing, or what?
I mean, there wasn't a weight lifted. In fact, I think I probably put more weight on my back for it, because I wanted to make sure that we made the most of this opportunity with the last season. There was a different idea going into the last season, because we knew that we were going to be able to finish it. We were able to tell the story of these characters and give the audience the answer to that main question: what happened to these passengers on Flight 828? So that was a great motivator. But, you know, we all wanted to make this season the best one that we possibly could. So I think, I mean, I can only speak for me personally, that I put more weight on my shoulders to do the best job that I could with honoring the story and this character. And it was just, you know, it was a real honor to go back into it, you know, because, you know, I start season 4, I have this massive beard, and we jokingly call it, you know, Ben's grease beard, but it was actually Josh's grease beard, because I started growing it when we were canceled after season 3. I started growing it, and then of course Netflix picked us up, and we were coming back, and Jeff Rake saw it, and he goes, "We could use that. We can use that beard, so keep growing it." So I just kept growing it. So it turned into from Josh's grease beard to Ben's grease beard. But it seemed to fit in with where he was, you know, mentally within the story.
Right. Are you more proud of the beard this season or your directing debut?
I mean, I think the beard, it was a big achievement for me. I've never grown a beard that big in my life. And it was hard work, Josh.
Yeah,
it was
a lot
hard
of concentration.
work. I had a lot of support, though.
Yeah.
A lot of concentration. It was so hard. I did, you know, get every razor out of the house. I couldn't walk into a CVS and pass, you know, the shaving cream aisle and the razor aisle. It was a trigger. It was a trigger for me. But, you know, I got through it. Thank you for asking.
I know it's a tough situation. How about the family? Were they supportive, Jenny and the kids? What do they think of Josh?
Jenny is overly supportive of the beard. She really, really likes the beard. A little too much. It's
like she's married a new guy. She's like, oh wait, I got a bonus husband.
I think that's what it was. It was, she liked it so much because I looked so different. So, you know,
let's not unpack that too much. Yeah.
Let's not pack that out. It's for the therapist next week that I'm seeing.
I did mention the directing. Congratulations. That's a big thing. I know that had been on your mind for a bit. When push came to shove, like when you got on set, did it feel like this was a natural fit? You were ready and you were happy with what happened, with how it went down?
I mean, I'm super, super proud of it. And, you know, when I was on set, it felt like I knew more than I thought. And I learned so much more, and I have so much more to learn. But I loved it, and I loved every second of it, and I loved that cast, and I loved that crew, and they all supported me in such a great way. And I loved that I was able to have this 360-degree view of the story, and a story that means so much to me. And I was just so grateful that I got to play in that arena and to contribute to our story in that kind of way. Yeah, as you said, I've been wanting to do it for a long time. You know, even going back to the Once days, you know, I always was so taken with it and interested in it and wanted to know more, and just watched and learned and absorbed as much as I could, you know, during all those days, and even in the first 3 seasons of Manifest. Jeff Rake and I were talking about me directing in the 3rd season, but of course when we started the 3rd season, it was the beginning of COVID,
right? And
we didn't know how anything was going to work on set, if we were going to have a full crew or not, and there was just too many unknowns, and I didn't want to go into my first time directing with a handicap or a possible handicap. So I was glad we were able to make it happen in the 4th season, and Netflix was so supportive. And I'm really proud of the episode, and I think we get to tell a story that we don't normally tell with our characters in Manifest. And I think we were able to tell a story with one particular character and show that character in a light that we've never seen him before. And I loved it. I loved it, and I can't wait to do more.
So there's so much discussion, and as you alluded to, kind of like how to end a show. And you're no stranger to this, and we've seen this many times with the best shows in the history of TV. No one is excluded, whether you're Sopranos or Lost or Seinfeld. They don't give a shit. If it doesn't end right, they're gonna tear you apart. So how are you feeling? Because we're not there yet, but we're gonna be there soon. When it drops, are you like stealing yourself? Do you have confidence that people are gonna be happy enough, satisfied enough? What's your take?
I have total confidence. You know, Jeff Rake has had this ending in his head since the very beginning, and he's delivered on it. And I think it is absolutely the right ending for all of these characters and for the story. And I think the audience is going to be super satisfied with it.
Okay. All right. So let's talk also, not only just like the general public loves this show, but I noticed like Stephen King apparently is a manifester. That's pretty damn cool.
He is a manifester. It's so cool. It blows my mind. I mean, this is arguably one of the, greatest writers of our time. And he's just, sitting at home tweeting about television. And it's amazing. And I've saved every single one of his tweets about manifest. And he's a true manifester, this guy. And we're honored that he's a part of it.
It's amazing. And I feel like I've seen that again on the periphery, seen that about once over the years. I think William Shatner was and is a once fan.
Big oncer. Right? Yeah, absolutely.
Was there which one is
the captain?
Exactly. Which one are those the two that have blown you away? Am I missing any? Like, what's one that came up over the years for once?
Oh, well, for Manifest, we've had, the Kardashians have, posted about Manifest a lot. We just saw Carrie Underwood just posted last night about it, that it was on, and she was excited that it was coming back. There's been a lot of people that we just wouldn't have expected come out of the woodwork. So, hey, we welcome them all. Josh, we welcome them all.
Look, you've been in the business for a bit now, and I know you're a smart man. You know this does not happen often. You've been on 2 series that really have a very unique, passionate fan base that does not happen very often. Clearly, the X Factor is who I'm staring at. It's the Josh Dallas factor. Hire this man.
I don't know about that.
Well, but I mean, give me a perspective on like, so when you got into, I mean, did it blow your mind that like that lightning did strike again with Manifest coming off of Once, which you again must have known could have been a once in a lifetime experience. And you're like, oh wait, I get another one?
Yeah. First of all, I feel so lucky that that's been the case with me, that I've had these 2 shows that I've been able to be a part of for many, many seasons. And it is rare, and I have such gratitude about it. But, I think I'm attracted to that storytelling, these big swings, these big ideas that are grounded in something very sort of real. And I remember reading Once Upon a Time and reading that pilot script and loving it and loving the idea so much, but thinking either this is going to go forever or the pilot will never get picked up. And I think that idea made me want to do it even more. And I think Manifest was the same way, had a lot of the same kind of qualities in the storytelling of it. And it was this big idea that was based in something and grounded in something very real, this family drama. And I liked it. I love that kind of storytelling. And I thought the same thing. I like it. It's either going to go big or it's not going to get picked up at all. And I guess that's the formula that I've got to go to for the rest of my career now. It's as long as I respond to it and I like it and I like the storytelling and it's a character that I want to sort of dig into, then I think that's all you can do, and just trust your own gut and just hope, because as you were saying, you never know. You never know with these things. You never know if a show's going to go. It can have, all the best ingredients that you could ever hope or wish for. And for whatever reason, it just doesn't catch on. And I'm lucky. I'm lucky that, the audience, clicked into it and grabbed onto these characters and wanted to go on the ride with us. And, a lot of those fans in the beginning were original oncers that came in and became manifestors. So I guess we all kind of like the same kind of storytelling.
Well, not to mention, there's also the flip side of it, which is that weird devil's bargain that actors often make inadvertently, where like they sign onto a show and you find yourself like you're successful, you're making money, but you're like 6 years into a show, 10 years into a show, then you're like, this is a job. This is not the people, the life I want. And like, not only were these shows that resonated, but by all accounts, you like the people you work with, you like the material. And that's almost the greatest luck, the greatest gift.
And it is the greatest gift. And I think that, for us, and as far as I'm concerned, that is kind of all we have, is the experience of making whatever it is you're making, whether you're, a painter or a dancer or an actor or a musician. It's about the making of that is the most important thing to me, and that experience of being creative. And lightning struck twice. I got it, twice with Once Upon a Time and Manifest. So let's hope it keeps going. I'm just going to have to tell my agents, look, I only do hits.
Yeah, this is my only criteria. Sorry, guys. You do better.
Sorry, guys. Yeah, I only do hits, so bring me that. But may that luck continue. But it's been a great experience so far, and I hope it continues.
Okay, so let's go backward. As if you listen to the podcast, we do a little bit of a career kind of chat and background, and I always like to hear about how folks grew up and their influences. Yeah. So we're roughly the same age, despite all appearances. So we probably have some similar reference points. What were you obsessed with?
I have a lot of ring lights on me right now.
I have a big one. It's doing nothing for me.
Yeah.
Okay. So what were you like from the start? If I had visited the Dallas home at 8 or 9 years old, were you a theatrical kid? Were you obsessed with TV and film? Like, what were you like?
It's interesting. I was thinking about this the other day, and my cinematic upbringing was really strange and really eclectic. And I was definitely watching movies for the first time that I should not have been watching at the age that I saw them. So we had a Betamax, and you're old enough to know what a Betamax is.
Yeah, you saw
we were the only family that I knew of that had a Betamax. And so we had a lot of taped movies on those things. And I grew up I was born in Louisville, Kentucky, and I grew up right across the Ohio River in a southern Indiana river town called New Albany, Indiana, which is my hometown and the greatest place in the world. And I still love going back and visiting as much as I can. And I still have a lot of great friends there, but nobody else had a Betamax. And it seems like nobody else in America had a Betamax, and, they didn't laugh. But anyway, my father had movies on there, and I can't remember my first cinematic experience as in going to the cinema for the first time, but I do remember watching movies at home. And it was a real mixed bag of movies. The first movie that I remember watching over and over and over again was Superman, 1978. I watched it over and over again. I loved it. But then it went into, and this must have been around 6 or 7 years old. And then I remembered, and there's images that I still can't get out of my head of John Carpenter's The Thing.
Yes.
Way too young to be watching that. What else was there? There was Superman, The Thing. I remember a lot of Monty Python, The Life of Brian, Holy Grail. I remember watching those. The Meaning of Life. I watched those a lot. Probably still too young to be watching those things. And Time Bandits, and also the great Terry Gilliam movie. Help me out.
Wait,
help me out, Josh.
Baron Munchausen, that's later. No, Time Bandit.
No, very early.
Wait, what am I thinking? I'm blocking too. I don't know.
No, maybe it's Time Bandits.
Time Bandits is the first movie I remember seeing in a theater. It came out like around 81 or 82, and it's probably...
Yeah. Well, we had that on Betamax, so that's one of the first movies that I remember watching. So, right, it was an eclectic mix. It was a mix of crazy, and then thrown in there was like Platoon, and then so that was like my first. I mean, I can remember my brother and I. We used to have a tape cassette. I mean, we're really aging myself now. The hooked up to the television, and we used to record the dialogue from Platoon, and this TV show that we used to watch. Called Tour of Duty. Do you remember the TV show?
Vaguely. I definitely, it's in there somewhere. I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah. Another army, set in Vietnam about this platoon. And we used to record dialogue from that. And of course, my brother and I, Jason, he's 5 years older than I was. We used to dress up, full army fatigue, face paint, and, do that dialogue around in the yard and pretend we were in some foxhole in Vietnam. But yeah,
you're still basically doing that.
Still basically doing that, exactly. And so that was my sort of the beginnings of my cinematic knowledge, was this really eclectic, strange mixed bag of movies. But I love them. And I wasn't really a TV watcher from when I was little. I was mostly outside a lot, but I remember, watching every week, the Cosby Show and, the Facts of Life and Silver Spoons and shows like that. But I wasn't a real avid television watcher back then. I am now. And I love TV. It's my favorite thing in the entire world. I want to just keep doing it as an actor. I think it leaves open so many possibilities, not only for story, but for character and character development that you don't get anywhere else. And I just think that's so exciting. And I just want to keep doing that. But my mother was a local dance teacher at the local dance school in town. And of course, so I was around it all the time, and I was always going and being roped into dance recitals, and I would have to dress up like some sort of, mascot for the recital, whether it be like a painter or Prince Charming. I was that one time. I was, little foreshadowing there, or I was a gigantic pink elephant at one point.
Sure.
So I was around sort of the stage, and then I discovered, doing theater in school, and that was in elementary school around 5th grade. And, I was the Jack in the Box in this play called Aesop's Fallables, and I never looked back. I'm Jack in the Box, the morals I keep. That was my first line ever.
Oh my God, amazing.
And that hooked me. So then I found the theater, and I never looked back. And that's what I did all through school. And I had for whatever reason, that area had 3 great high schools that had 3 great performing arts programs in them. Right. And I just ate it up.
So here's what I'm fascinated by. I'm always fascinated by like the timing of someone's like career and kind of when the shift happens and when they kind of get the big break, et cetera. Like if I'm doing the math, like I'm curious about like your 20s. Like what did you spend most of your 20s doing? Because Once and Thor, arguably the big breaks, the ones where we first really got to know you, you're probably 30, early 30s then? So like, was there are the 20s a period of a lot of struggle, a lot of training, a lot of near misses? Like, I know it's hard to encapsulate a decade, but talk to me a little bit about what that period in your life was about.
Yeah, sure. I mean, when I was 18, I left my my little southern Indiana town in New Albany and went to London, England. And I got this, I was super lucky. I got this scholarship to train at a British drama school called Mount View in London. And for 3 years. And I went, I went when I was 18, and I stayed for 13 years. And I did a lot of theater all through my 20s. My first job was with the Royal Shakespeare Company doing a musical. We did The Secret Garden, which was this great, Broadway musical by Lucy Simon and Marcia Norman. And I did that in the West End. I worked at the National Theater. I worked at all these great theaters. And that's what I always wanted to do. I always wanted to do stage. The thought of, back when I was in high school, the thought of doing television or film never really even entered my mind. I was just full on theater nerd, and that's all I wanted to do. And so that's what I trained in. And so I did a lot of, for that decade, the lost years, we'll call them. Wow. I was sort of, working in the theater, and I was very lucky, and worked with some incredible actors at some incredible places and some of the, the greatest theater companies in the world. And I can't wait to get back to the stage. But then I started doing more television and film over there. And my first ever television role was on Doctor Who. I looked like a floating.
You're Node 2.
And thank you very much. Node 2. I think a very huge pivotal part, of course, but in a really great episode of Doctor Who called Silence in the Library. And I still get residual checks from that particular episode. But that was my first thing. I was this floating spoon. And from that moment on, I thought, this is what I want to do. I want to do filming, even though I was a floating spoon.
I love it.
But then I started doing more TV and film over there and falling in love with it. And that sort of led me back to the United States and back to LA when I was, when I was 30. You were right about those dates.
So before Once, is there an audition, a near miss, this is going to be the one that's going to change my life that you came close to, that you can pinpoint, that you have pinned all your hopes and dreams on?
Yes, absolutely. And the movie was, and you'll remember this, John Carter from Mars, directed by Andrew Stanton. It was going to be the great Pixar director. It was going to be his first live action movie. And I was in London, and I was, living there, and I was working. I was doing a play at the time. I was doing a play called On the Town at the English National Opera, a musical by Leonard Bernstein. And these auditions came through town, right? And I auditioned, of course, like, most of England. And then I ended up testing for it, as we call it. I tested with Andrew, and everybody flew in, and of course, I didn't get it. And I was devastated. But what it did for me was, at the time, there was a casting director at Disney called Marsha Ross, who said, you should really come out to LA. I think it would be really good for you, and sort of, set me up with an agent to meet and, all that stuff. And so I came over to LA, and that was it. So it was John Carter of Mars, of course, famously, it didn't turn out the way that I think Andrew Stanton wished it would have, Taylor did that. Taylor Kitsch did that part, and he was brilliant for that part. But that was the first one. That was the first one that I really, really wanted. But of course, didn't happen. But of course, there's been many of those things.
Any actor worth their salt has dozens of those stories, and that's a good one. The time's flying by, so let's talk a little Once, because Once obviously is just the gift that keeps on giving, and has been a gift for you in many respects. I mean, look, you're living with a once alum, and it must be a fascinating thing. like when you look back on the early episodes between you and Ginny, do you see the seeds of a relationship? Do you see each of you making googly eyes at each other? Do you recall a little bit of that?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're taking method acting to another level. I mean, we're really living it. We're really living those characters' lives. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I can't help but see that connection between her and I. And, first of all, Ginnifer Goodwin is a brilliant actress, one of our great actresses, and she could have chemistry with a brick wall. So, it wasn't, I don't think it had anything particularly to do with me, but, I can see the connection between us and between those two characters. And, of course, it was a connection that was deeper than just going to work every day and playing those two characters, and we, we're still here. We're still here. We're still going strong, and 2 kids later. And, that show was a gift in so many ways, and not only professionally, but, personally. And, it's one of those things. It was meant to be, right? It was just, It was meant to happen. And I was meant to meet all those people who have become, friends for life, your brother included. And, I couldn't imagine my life without it. And it was just such a special time and a special show, and a special show that Eddie and Adam created that connected with so many people. And still, as you said, to this day, the gift that keeps on giving. And now we're on, Disney Plus, and it's still going strong and still finding new fans and a new audience. And that's always an amazing thing, to walk around and people come up to me and say, "Oh, I just started watching Once Upon a Time," and that just blows my mind, because I'm a little older now, and I just think, God, if I were ever to put on those leathers again, it wouldn't be so attractive.
I was going to say, do you have it in storage? Do you have it ready if called upon? Are you ready?
Maybe it's not so much in storage. Maybe it's quite handy to grab.
Oh my God. It's a Saturday night.
What we do have in the house, what we do have in the house, which I don't understand why it's in the house, but we have the Dark One dagger. For all you oncers out there, we have a Dark One dagger somewhere in the house. I don't know where it is, but it's a little freaky.
Yeah. Is that?
And I don't even know how it got here.
You trot that out when the kids are being bad, like, Dad's got the Dark One dagger.
I would if I could find it. But it's somewhere lost in the house, so ready to be found again. But yeah, we have a Dark One dagger here, which is pretty wild.
Alarming. Who in the house loves theme parks the most between the 2 kids, you and Ginny? Who's the theme park freak?
100% Ginnifer Goodwin.
Yeah.
She's at a theme park right now, Josh.
Of course she is.
She's at Universal. Oh, we've got some noise happening, Josh. Is that okay?
That's okay. It's real life. It's okay.
Okay. It's real life.
Wow. So what's your secret to enjoying a theme park? Are you just sort of grinning and bearing it, or do you get a kick out of it too?
Oh, I get a kick out of it too. I mean, the first time that I ever went to Disneyland was with Ginnifer Goodwin when I was like 35 years old. That was the first time I'd ever been. And it was the best day of my life. It was amazing. We had a great time. You just have to sort of give yourself over to it and just go along with whatever Jenny says.
Dude, I did see, speaking of theme parks and franchises and stuff, I think I saw an old Instagram post, and I don't know if these are new figures or you found your old ones. You had the OG Star Wars figures out. Were those yours from childhood, or did you buy to be honest, I did have those figures from childhood, but who knows what happened to them. Sure. So we bought the whole set. We bought the whole set with the carrying case. Amazing. The Darth Vader they're amazing. The boys were into them, and now it's all Pokemon. Right now, it's all Pokemon. No. But we have them. They're safe. Some of them are in plastic bags. They're kind of beautiful. What do you guys watch? What are the TV shows that you watch together? The TV show you need to watch apart? What are you obsessed with? What's your bag?
Well, we do watch a lot of shows apart. My wife is obsessed with anything on PBS, and if it is a murder mystery of any kind, she loves it. And if it's Agatha Christie, then that's all the better.
She needs one of those, like, she needs to like solve a murder a week. She needs a series like that. She needs to like be the heir apparent to Lansbury. Come on.
Absolutely. That's what I've told her. And, watch this space. That's all I've got to say about that.
Okay.
But, she would be perfect for that. And it is her love, and it's what she loves. So I'll watch some of those with her every now and then. But, we'll watch The Crown together. We're watching White Lotus together. We will be watching The Crown tomorrow. She loves Manifest. So she's watching that. White Lotus, The Bear. I love
good.
The Bear.
Yeah, that was great.
We don't watch that together. What else? Euphoria, I loved. I thought that was exceptional television, exceptional cinematography.
Yeah.
The character development in Euphoria was just amazing. I love that. There's a lot out there we're watching.
All right.
I haven't started watching Andor yet, but I hear that's incredible.
I'm behind. I know. I need to like sit down and like really, because everyone's saying it's the best Star Wars in years, and I need that in my system. All right, let's. We have a bunch of questions.
And what's?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay.
All right.
I was just going to say, and what's fun now is my sons are watching the Marvel movies now, so
we're
working our way through the Marvel movies.
Right, but they're out after the first Thor. They're like, wait, what happened to my Fandral? My guy's gone.
Where is that? That was such a heartbreaking thing, but that was also another once upon a time thing.
Yeah.
I was all geared up to do the rest of those movies, but of course, Patty Jenkins was always going to direct that second movie. And we went in and we had a costume fitting. It was going to fit right into the hiatus between the first season of Once and the second season of Once. And then, of course, Patty pulled out. Alan Taylor came in and then pushed the whole movie, and we just couldn't make it work with that schedule. But, maybe I'll find my way back to the Marvel Universe at some point.
There's plenty of characters out there. All right, we're going to run through a bunch of these. Let's see. Liliana wants to know, is this indeed Manifest's last season? Is that done deal? Like, did Netflix leave any room for future Manifest?
I think it is done, and this part of the story is done, but that doesn't mean that there couldn't be a sequel or prequel, maybe. I'm not for sure. In its future, maybe. I don't know. I don't know of anything happening, but anything's possible.
Okay. Angela wants to know, we talked about the amazingly talented Ginnifer Goodwin. Any hopes, plans for a future collaboration? Do you guys talk about it? Do you try to develop ideas together? What's your attitude about that?
We would love to work together again. As long as the project seems right and the characters seem right, we would love to work together again. Yeah.
Do fans freak out when they see you out in the wild together? I bet they do. I bet they're like,
they can't quite believe it. And some of them who don't know that we're together really can't. But they're like, it blows their mind. They're like, wait, you mean you're together in real life? Yeah. They can't quite, but
amazing performance art. Let's see. Mary wants to know, if you weren't an actor, what would you be? Another profession? What do you think?
I would have loved to have been an orchestra conductor.
Okay. Alyssa wants to know your favorite scene to film of season 4, part 1. Maybe without, for the folks that haven't seen it, not ruining too much, but can you?
Favorite scene?
Yeah.
Favorite scene? Oh, wow. I don't know about a scene in particular because there's so many great ones. The writers just gave us such rich stuff to play. There's so many great scenes that I love, but I think there's 2 episodes that I love filming in the most in this part 1, which was the first one, and the 5th one, 405. They're just great, rich, exciting, emotional episodes to film, and I like those 2 the most.
Does Ben get to? I've only seen the first few episodes of the new season. Does Ben smile again before all is said and done, or is it just 20 episodes of sad face?
It starts to creep in. It starts to creep in towards the end, and you'll see a lot more of it in part 2.
Okay. A couple folks want to know, and I was going to ask this myself. Alyssa wants to know, Angela wants to know about going back to the theater and Broadway. So you said you're now a creature of TV. You love the rewards of that, but obviously we've heard your roots are in the theater. Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if it was, yes, I would go back in a heartbeat and do something on stage again. I miss it, and I love it. It's my first love, and it's, you've all heard actors talk about how it is such a important thing for an actor to do, and it just feeds us in such a different way than TV and film. And yeah, I'd love to get back to it.
Musical, play, anything specific in mind? What's in your heart? If you could green light a show tomorrow.
Oh, wow. Probably a musical. I would probably, a musical. A Jason Robert Brown musical would be kind of great.
You're due for, I feel like I should know this. Have you sung on camera? Have I seen you sing in?
On Once Upon a Time.
We did a musical episode. Of course, you did the musical episode. Yes.
I think in season 6. Yeah. So yeah, you can hear me screeching away on that.
That's what auto-tune's for. No, you got the chops. You know what you're doing.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah.
This flew by, man. Congratulations. So we discovered, we were chit-chatting before we did this. I know that like Josh has never done the deep dive conversation. So this is just, we're going to do more. We're going to do this again. But I appreciate being
I can't wait.
The guy that got you for the first long form podcast, finally overdue. It's always good to see you, buddy. We don't see each other in person enough. Hopefully we'll get a chance to get a drink or food at some point. I'll go to a theme park with you anytime. I'm available. My best to the family. And congratulations, honestly, on the new season. It's so exciting to see, we've seen so many shows cut short and prematurely in the wrong way. And the fact that this one gets to wrap up on your own terms, it's like we said before, it's a gift. So enjoy this last ride.
Yeah.
And thanks as always, buddy.
Thanks, Josh. It was great to see you, man.